Hey, there's a growing cultural confusion about what beauty actually is. Have you noticed that? It seems to be brainwashed in us that it's in the eye of the beholder. Well, I'm here to speak to you about that today and how I think that's complete garbage. This woke ideology and DEI driven campaigns tell us that beauty is purely subjective, that it's whatever anyone says it is. But if that's true, then the word beautiful loses all meaning. I mean, you know, we could apply beauty. We could say that it's, equal to the Sistine Chapel, or it could be a graffiti covered dumpster. I mean, it's all in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Well, my job today is to simplify this argument by reminding you that beauty is one of the three timeless transcendentals, alongside with truth and goodness, and why denying its objectivity is very dangerous for our culture, sorry, relationships, and even faith. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Luella. I'm a Catholic psychotherapist, and I make videos to help you stay sane in this crazy world. Because, like, despite being a therapist, when witnessing public behavior, whether it's in my own home, my community, or the media, I often feel like I'm on a crazy train, looking for the quickest exit. It's like literally that song, "Crazy Train," is like constantly popping in my head. um, the world is literally going into a hell, in a handbasket. So, and this topic specifically gets me really riled up. I'm someone who's pretty low key, and actually, I should even apologize a little bit in the sense because I don't. For those of you that have been watching my YouTube videos, thanks for doing that because I get it. I'm not somebody who has really really high highs and really really low lows. I'm kind of even killed, and I don't tend to be overly emotive, but man, this topic specifically just wants me to, I don't know, run away. Um, and this topic, it came to light for me once again when recently, Michael Knowles, hosted a panel where the discussion turned to beauty, specifically in advertising. And while their focus was on a particular celebrity, what really struck me was how this debate touches a much deeper question. Is beauty something we define for ourselves, or does it have an objective reality we are meant to recognize and honor? That's the question. Now, I want to show you a clip of what, the video that I was referring to, a podcast or an interview that Michael Knowles had with a panel of women. So let's watch a short part of that conversation. And remember, it's not showing, like, I'm not showing this to get into politics. I don't care about politics. I'm not even American. But instead to demonstrate how culture's debate over beauty is unfolding in real time. So let's watch some.
Yeah, look, I agree that it's better to have like beautiful women selling in cool cars selling products than some androgynous weirdo on Mars selling me a Jaguar. But okay, that means we've rewound the clock to 1998. 1998 wasn't that great. I mean, it was a perfectly fine year, but is there, Emily, I guess this question is really for you. Are we as conservatives just trying to get back to the 90s, or is there something deeper that we're trying to conserve and restore?
I think we're just trying to conserve and restore just sanity, just being normal.
Whose sanity?
We don't need to
what does the sanity look like?
We don't need to go back. No, normal American girls cannot relate to like Savannah said, a 200-pound mixed race, one-armed woman. Okay, when I'm buying makeup, when I'm buying skincare, when I'm buying clothing, I want them to look like someone I would either like to look like or maybe like me. It's just common sense. Like we all agree we'd rather see Sydney Sweeney than all these other people we've seen for years that have been shoved down our throat, because it's not relatable. And I also think it's positive to have girls looking up to girls that are like actually beautiful and also feminine. The women that have been pushed on us have been extremely masculine. They haven't been feminine. So I think it's a win-win. I think we should just promote good-looking people. Like I said, look, if I have to watch movies and TV shows and there's going to be sex scenes, I want to see attractive people and I want to see straight couples. I think that's normal and what most of America wants, and that's what we're sort of going back to. But when conservatives are having meltdowns in the same way liberals are having meltdowns about this, then it kind of just pushes us back a little bit further. I think she's a sexual looking girl. She's got big tits. She's blessed. Go let her do that. We don't know her in real life. She's probably just a normal girl. She's not representing conservative media. Okay. Just like let a win be a win.
Melanie, are you having a breakdown like a liberal?
I wouldn't say that. I think that Christians absolutely need to have standards, but this is just a matter of secular people in the conservative movement. They're going to disagree with Christians in the conservative movement. But with Christian values, I mean, we absolutely should be standing against this stuff. The over-sexualization is part of the slippery slope. That's why we got the troons. That's why we got the gay stuff. Troon is like transgender. I use a lot of lingo, but that's why we get all of this stuff, because it is a slippery slope. And it's just like, yeah, you want to say this is a win? Well, Satan parades himself as an angel of light. Satan doesn't care if you're a liberal or you're a Republican, but what he does care is if you're celebrating degeneracy, if you're celebrating perversion. And so, yeah, things got so extreme at one point that now we're going to go back and we're going to accept this perversion, and that's okay because it's not as extreme as this perversion, while you're still accepting something from Satan.
So what you just heard is the tension our culture keeps getting stuck in. On one side, the pushback against unrealistic, politically forced beauty standards that have, that basically erase femininity or downplay natural attractiveness, which is ridiculous. And then on the other, the recognition that beauty divorced from dignity quickly becomes sexualization, right? What that one panelist is saying is that, when I say we can't separate, what I'm trying to say is that there's a middle ground. I mean, obviously the celebrity is, Marilyn Monroe kind of category, right? She's very voluptuous, she's shapely, she's blonde, she's whatever. But I mean, we can't, we also have to have some modesty, right? And you can be very modestly dressed and be extremely beautiful. What I like to call, sort of a elegance about a woman. Yeah. I mean, I that's the look I'm going for. And because otherwise, we like that type of sexualization that, there's a thread of it in this commercial. Like it that becomes more like a counterfeit type of beauty that really ultimately degrades both the viewer and the person being viewed, because then the viewer becomes, it has the potential to form some sort of lust, for this person. And we don't need more of that in our culture, that's for sure. But like, the problem isn't that beauty exists or that people respond to it. That's not what we're really talking about here. The problem is when we treat beauty as a commodity for lust, rather than a reflection of something higher. So I want to explain to you what that something higher actually is. Now, in Christian tradition, beauty is one of the three transcendentals, like I mentioned before, along with truth and goodness. Now, truth corresponds to the mind. It is what is real. For example, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And as I'm saying this, I can probably think that there's somebody out there that will likely debate me on this. Now, the second transcendental, goodness, corresponds to the will, what is morally right. And finally, beauty corresponds to the heart. What draws us towards the divine. I think that's the easiest way of thinking of it. It's sort of like beauty is not merely in the eye of the beholder. It's much more than that. It has an objective form that reflects harmony. Harmony, like proportion and radiance. What I mean by that, there's a certain type of face, like the structure of a person's face, that is more beautiful than another's. There's certain type of harmony in nature that makes us just, fall over backwards, right? Like it's just sort of like the proportion, the harmony, the detail. It can't be disordered. Otherwise, it's not beautiful. It can't be configured or something like that. Then it's no longer proportional and in harmony. I hope you understand what I'm getting to. Like it's like, yeah, seeing a beautiful, beautiful painting, or even like if we take a sunset, the dancing of the light, or the intensity of the light, or, the mildness of it, it's just sort of, how can I describe it anymore? That's what beauty is. You can't describe it. It literally makes someone fall backwards sometimes. And yet we're arguing this. We're saying, well, no, that's actually not beautiful. It's all subjective. It's like, what? Even when we think about, like, I couldn't help but to think about our Blessed Mother Mary, when she has appeared to those who are lucky enough to experience it, all those, the saints have described the Virgin Mary's beauty as unlike anything else on the earth. This is for a reason. It is so pure. It's untainted. It's immaculate, and it's entirely aligned with the truth and goodness, the other two transcendentals. It's not subjective. It's not, because maybe we would have some saints going, she looked okay, It's like, no, they're falling over backwards with her beauty. So we have to make this objective. And let's move from this, tie it back to wokeism and the DEI movements and initiatives that we've seen that are clearly trying to erase objective beauty in the name of what? Inclusivity? Like, this is how we end up in a cultural environment where we are told we must call everything and anything beautiful simply because someone claimed it is, even if it's intentionally disordered, even if it communicates rebellion against the natural order. Even the term like inclusivity, it's you are fighting for this sort of, I don't know, I feel like there's marches, there's gay pride parades, there's rallies, there's this sort of like, wait, I thought we were all of equal value. I thought we were all made in God's image. And yet, you're trying to stand out from everyone else for some reason. This is what causes wars and divisiveness. You know, I mean, it skews natural, sacred, divine order. It's what I said. It's not subjective. It's very objective what is beautiful and pure and good. So, and you know what happens as a result of this is our ability to recognize what is true. All of a sudden, beauty starts to erode and we become numb to it. You know, we're supposed to be able to look at billboards and look at, you know, go up to our, you know, grocery clerk counters or pharmacies or, and, you know, see pictures of what's not beautiful. And try to be convinced that is beautiful when it's clearly not. It's not something I'm trying to aspire to looking like. That's for sure. We honestly start to begin normalizing ugliness. And, you know, just like we have normalized so many other things in our culture, we've normalized allowing kids to spend hours on computers that degrade their emotional, physical, and emotional health. You know, we've normalized, in my line of work, we've normalized ending marriages on personality differences. You know, that's going to be another video, by the way, that I'm going to make. Again, from a clip from Michael Knowles he portrayed this so well. Yeah, marriages are entering because, you know, one person needs to find themselves. Yeah, right. Okay, sure. Let's just separate all the kids and ruin ourselves financially because you need to find yourself. You know, we've normalized killing a human being. Let's talk about it. Abortion. You know, we've normalized the most crazy things in our culture now. And why do we normalize abortion? Well, because, you know, conception happened at a time that was kind of inconvenienced us at the time of our lives. So just because culture is accepting all of this doesn't mean it's less wrong. You know, when we begin to argue what is truly beautiful, like a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white, shapely woman, or a sunset, or a Monet painting, when we lose what beauty truly means, we also lose one of the most powerful ways God calls our hearts home. You know, the most powerful ways our hearts are warmed and delighted, you know, when we dance in that sort of beauty. So, I want to leave you with a question. When was the last time that you encountered beauty that didn't just please your senses, but actually made you want to be better? You know, that kind of beauty worth protecting. And not because it's conservative or it's liberal, but because it's true, good, and life-giving. You know, please, let's stop letting the culture redefine what beauty is to fit some ideology. Instead, like, can we please let's recover the kind of beauty that draws our souls closer to God? Yeah, let's come back to some sort of normalcy. That's what I'm asking you to do. And if you don't like what I just said, drop me a comment. If you like what I just said, drop me a comment. I mean, I want to hear from you. I want to know how you perceived, you know, what I just said. Yeah. Let's try to make the world a more beautiful place. See you next week.